Surrogacy by Jordan Powell. What are your thoughts about surrogacy? What is surrogacy? Surrogacy is the action or state of being a surrogate, which is a woman who becomes pregnant by artificial insemination. There are two different types of surrogates. There are traditional surrogates and gestational surrogates. A traditional surrogate is a woman who gets artificially inseminated with the father's sperm and then carries the baby and delivers it for a couple to raise. But a traditional surrogate is the baby's biological mother. A gestational surrogate uses a technique called in vitro fertilization, which is IVF, and it makes it possible to fertilize the mother's egg with the father's sperm and place that embryo into the surrogate. And the surrogate carries a baby until birth, but does not have any genetic ties to the child. Some statistics on surrogates are the reason people use them, or if they are a same-sex couple, depending on their age, and if this is a personal decision of theirs to use one. And the most common reason that people use a surrogate is because of infertility. There are about 6.1 million women in the United States, which is 10% of women. They have difficulty getting pregnant or staying pregnant. And there are around 750 babies born per year to surrogate mothers. The process of surrogacy is quite long. There are multiple steps to it. The first step would be to choose an agency, and with them you will learn about programs and options available, and they will help you match with the surrogate. The next step is to get a lawyer, so you and your spouse could agree on a contract with the surrogate. The next step is to choose a doctor, and they have to do a screening process for the potential surrogate, and they have to undergo medical and psychological screenings to make sure they're a good candidate to be a surrogate. Most people go through fertility clinics because it is easier to get everything done. And with IVF, which is also part of the medical, they do an embryo transfer, and sometimes it takes multiple times for a woman to get pregnant with IVF, but then there are also times that IVF works on the first try. Agencies, there are more than 100 of them in the United States. Most people use these to arrange just a gestational surrogate, and these agencies act as go-betweens, which they help you find a surrogate and they make arrangements, and they also collect any fees that get passed between you and the surrogate, which is you paying for her medical expenses. The cost of surrogacy is between $100,000 and $150,000, but there are a lot of different things that go into the price, such as agency fees, attorney fees, screening and surrogate fees, and also the medical and insurance costs. There are many different things to consider when choosing a surrogate and how much you are willing to spend with a surrogate. Some qualifications to be a surrogate. There aren't any regulations about who can be a surrogate mother, but there are a few things that experts agree on: that a surrogate has to be at least 21 years old and has already given birth to at least one baby, so they know the risks of pregnancy and childbirth. and they have to have passed a psychological screening so they can uncover any issues with the mother giving up the baby after birth. And the surrogate mother must sign a contract about her role and her responsibilities in the pregnancy, such as the prenatal care and agreeing to give the couple the baby after birth. Some pros and cons to surrogacy are the pros being you can have a baby even though you yourself are struggling with infertility. And there are many professionals that can help you make this dream become a reality. And medical technology is so advanced nowadays that there is a high success for achieving pregnancy. And being a surrogate is a wonderful thing because they do something for someone that they can't do themselves. And the right professional team will help you not be as nervous when you're going through the process. Some cons about surrogacy is that it is complicated, so you have to choose the correct professional team who will help you guide through the journey. The cost of surrogacy is also high, so you have to look into your options for that. And you will be a bit out of control since someone else is carrying your baby for you. And you have to be able to trust the surrogate and your professional team. It is also difficult to explain surrogacy to your family or friends, and you have to have confidence and believe in this process. And there are many laws that vary from state to state, so you have to have a lawyer who understands everything about surrogacy so they can help you as much as they can. And this process is very close to me because my aunt and uncle had trouble having a baby. My aunt had trouble carrying a baby to full term, so my uncle's cousin offered to be their surrogate. And my uncle's cousin, her name is Jen. She lives in New York, and my aunt and uncle live in Florida. So when the process happened and they found that they were pregnant, my aunt would fly up to New York and she would go to the ultrasounds. And Jen happened to become pregnant on the first try, which is kind of rare. And my aunt, when the baby was being born, my aunt flew to New York for the birth, and she got there the day that Jen's water broke. So she was calling my uncle and kept calling him until finally he picked up and he got on the next flight, which happened to be the following morning. So he got to New York and he arrived at the hospital 20 minutes before my baby cousin was born. And my whole family was so happy that my aunt finally got to have her baby. This may not have been a traditional way to have a child, but my family absolutely adores and loves my baby cousin, Sailor, and without surrogacy, she would not be here today. Have your thoughts about surrogacy changed?